Hey everybody, welcome to the Kratom Gals. This is an independent, opinion-based panel where everyday Kratom consumers come together to discuss headlines, react to publicly available hearings, and media coverage. And we share our personal perspectives. We're not insiders, we're not lobbyists, we're Kratom consumers, and we believe everyday people deserve a voice in the conversation about this plant. Each week, we come together to look at what's being said about Kratom, who's saying it, and whether it lines up with the publicly available facts. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but what you'll always get here is honest reaction and lived experience. I'm Madeline Sklar. I'm the host of this live stream series, The Kratom Gals. We've been doing this every Saturday for over 2 years. It's always fun getting together, watching videos and talking about it. I also host the Kratom Stories podcast and the Kratom Real Talk community. I've been a daily Kratom consumer. Are y'all ready for this? Next month, we're like almost exactly a month away from my 7-year anniversary. I've consumed Kratom, natural Kratom, every single day, multiple times a day for just about 7 years for my debilitating chronic pain. It has significantly improved my quality of life way more than the pharmaceuticals when I spent 9 years in pain management. Now, a quick note before we begin, this live stream is for educational purposes only. We're not medical professionals. We are not giving out medical advice here. We are sharing our personal experience and advocating for responsible legal access to Kratom. And do know all views expressed here are our own. That's how we roll here. So before I bring up the gals, I do have a statement I would like to read. So let's get into it. Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a few minutes to address something that came up publicly this week regarding our February 14th Kratom Gals episode. Many of you have seen or heard comments made by Matt Cadow during a recent AKA webinar about the Kratom Gals and about me personally. I'm not going to replay clips or turn this into a back and forth. That's not what we do here. But I do want to clarify a few important points. First, the Kratom Gals is an independent, opinion-based panel of Kratom consumers. We react to media reports as well as public hearings, public testimony, and publicly available information. We are not a debate forum. We are not an official representative of any lobbying group. We speak from what we observe and from our own lived experience. Second, there were suggestions that we are financially aligned with the 7-OH industry. That is simply not true. I do not receive funding from 7-OH companies or organizations. This platform is independent. Guests speak for themselves. Their professional affiliations do not represent this show, nor do they represent me. Third, it was suggested that we refuse to be transparent. When a private call was proposed, I asked that all co-hosts who participated in the February 14th episode be included. And I stated that I would record the call strictly for my private records, not for publication, and only with everyone's knowledge. That is a standard business practice for documentation and clarity. It was not about control. There were 2 invitations, one to host a live rebuttal style episode here, and one to participate in a live webinar hosted by the AKA. We declined both, not because we are afraid of discussion, but because the Kratom Gals is not a live rebuttal stage. That's a boundary, not avoidance. Now, here's what matters. Advocacy is so hard right now. There are ban bills across multiple states. Emotions are very high right now. People care deeply about protecting natural kratom. I'm one of them. All of us are here. Differences in strategy, messaging, or policy nuance are part of any advocacy movement. And they don't put us on opposing sides. We can disagree without dividing the community. If there are ever, and this is for everybody, if there are ever any specific factual inaccuracies in anything that we've said on this show, I'm open to reviewing timestamp references and correcting any verifiable efforts. I just need to see the context of it. That has always been my position. What I will not do is turn this show into a personality conflict. That does not serve our Kratom community. So moving forward, we're going to continue doing what we've always done here, what we've done for over 2 years. We review public hearings, we break down narratives, we encourage education, responsible use of the plant, and informed advocacy. So let's bring up the Kratom Gals and get into today's episode. Hey, gals, good to see you, and special
Good to
guest.
see you.
Good to see you. I'm always excited to be here on Saturdays, and it seems like more and more people are coming that were here from 2016, 2017 too. And I'm just the positivity and the energy. It's exactly what we needed instead of the fear. You know what I mean? It's just so scary hearing all of those bills out there, and we don't have to fear them because we're going to beat them.
Yeah. Well,
Well
education
said.
is so important. And just, a big part of why I do this is because it's so easy to feel alone. I mean, we come from pain management where you so easily feel alone. You feel like the world's against you because we take opiates, oh my gosh, for our chronic pain. And it's just we just feel like we're just not being heard, and we need to be around others who understand what we go through. And with Kratom, same thing. It's like, who knew there are all these amazing other fellow everyday Kratom consumers that we can just come together and chat and hang out. It's amazing. I love that. I'm here for it. So
yeah, me too. Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, that's always good seeing y'all. Angela is our special guest today. I had invited, Rob. I really would like, I'm really loving y'all's group, Angela, Botanical Advocacy and Education. Love what y'all are doing. Love that, y'all were super involved in advocacy back when Kratom was under attack in 2016. And you guys are back with, all this grassroots advocacy, which is so important and we need more of. I've been trying so hard to get more of that going. And I'm just y'all couldn't have come at a better time. So tell everybody a little bit about you and your organization, because I love giving you all a seat at the table here each week.
I myself found Kratom in 2013. In 2014, that's when I started finding the Kratom groups on Facebook. That's when I met Susan Ash. And everything kind of went from there. We went from an idea in 14 to launching in 15. And all these years later, here we are with another nonprofit. Because we noticed what we originally started for with grassroots advocacy, that had gone away. We didn't have that anymore. And that is desperately needed. The advocacy, the education, and the advocates, so we can go and fight this. And it went from there. And Robin and I and Lois talked for a long time about it. And finally, we just said we got to get launched. And here we are.
I love it. Well, we're so thrilled for you all, and always happy to help out however, anytime you all need it. Since we probably have, some new, we've gotten really popular all of a sudden. So why don't we have everybody introduce? So Angela, do you have any other brief introduction? Anything else you wanted to say before we go over to Venus?
Not really. I mean, I believe in botanicals, not just Kratom, but other botanicals whenever possible. I mean, I do have to take regular pharma medications for some things, but when I can, I'd rather stay with the natural stuff, and that's what I advocate for as much as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're glad you're here with us. Venus, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you?
Well, I'm Venus, a Kratom butterfly, and I'm a 9-year Kratom consumer, and I take it for pain, both mental and physical. My doctors are thrilled. And I just love that you give us this platform so that we can educate. And like I said before, I don't like being afraid of things. So I feel like I love having the confidence and the grassroots advocacy, and to not be afraid of what we're facing, and just knowing that we can get through this. And you guys did it back in 2016 and 17, and we can do this again now.
Yeah, y'all give us so much hope because y'all worked so hard back then, and we're in it feels like we're in a bigger fight. I know Robin has said that we're in a bigger fight right now, and it's scary.
We are. I mean, 37 states. I did want to add something I forgot before. The reason I take Kratom is because I have lupus, and I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I have some herniated discs from some car accidents and scoliosis on top of that. So that's what got me originally trying it.
God, and when did you first discover it? I need to get you on my Kratom Stories podcast, but when did you first discover it?
Kratom, I had a veteran friend of mine that bugged me for a year. because she got hurt in the Army. She had a car accident that almost killed her. They told her she'd never walk. She walked again, and she bugged me to try this from 2012 to 2013. And I finally tried it. And then, like everyone else, I was shocked. Oh my gosh, this works. And it just went from there.
That's so awesome. I love hearing stories like that. And when I do my Kratom Stories podcast, that's one of the questions I always ask is like, how did you first hear about it? Because I find it fascinating to learn more about, for me, it was the documentary A Leap of Faith. And it was like this divine intervention. I get dropped from pain management through no fault of my own because, doctors, we're going to get into that later because Bev Schechtman from Doctor Patient Forum did this phenomenal video diving deeper than when we watched the last one she did on Collodny and the whole prop movement going from opiates now to Kratom. We did that back in January. I'll play a clip of that, but I'm going to play some of her video, her new one, because it's so interesting. But so many of us lost access to pain management. We didn't get in trouble. We didn't, miss a pill count or whatever. Doctors were scared, because of the government policies that Collodny was a very big part of through that prop organization. And, one day I get a form letter in the mail. I got like a Dear John letter, sorry, good luck. It's like
too bad.
9 years of going to the doctor, pain management doctor, to lose access. And I don't know how this all, it was fate. At the time on Netflix, A Leap of Faith had come out. And I remember seeing it in my Netflix feed, and I'm like, what's this? And I watched it, and I was like, holy cow, there's a plant that could help me maybe. It seems to be helping all the people in the documentary. So I tried it, and here we are, 7 years next month. And it's amazing that a plant can, I get better pain relief from natural Kratom than I ever did with the high-powered opiates.
Oh, me too.
It's unbelievable.
My opinion on that is you take the opiates, because I was on them too through pain management. Then I lost my job and couldn't go. But I think it makes you kind of not care as much. Not so much as it gets rid of your pain, but it changes your head. So you're a little buzzed and you just don't care as much. At least that was my experience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Twinkle, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you?
And I'm Twinkle. I'm also known as Stronger Than Pain. I'm a chronic pain, rare disease, and disabilities advocate. And I've utilized tea for about 7 years. Well, Mother's Day of 2019, I believe it was. So it's coming up. And it's always good to be here. And today is actually Rare Disease Day 2026. So showing our stripes for Rare Disease
Awesome.
Day. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Drea's here with us. Good to see you, Drea. Says, my brother introduced me after he survived a scare from illicit use of another substance that was tainted. Oh my gosh. He urged me to try it, and I was struggling so badly with chronic pain. I'm so glad that you found it and it helped you. Your brother introduced it. That's always great hearing stories like that. He and my sister both achieved sobriety with our plant. That's just so great.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
That's a great story.
Excellent.
They all need to tell their story. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things. Look, my background is 30 years in digital marketing. I know the power of getting a message out there and utilizing these tools, live streaming like this. There should be more people live streaming and having discussions about Kratom. There should be more podcasts about Kratom. Kratom Stories podcast. When I started the podcast 2 years ago, you still had Kratom Science. But that stopped. And I know Brian started that as Kratom Stories. It was called Kratom Science, but he was basically doing Kratom Stories. So when I wanted to start my Kratom Stories podcast, I reached out to him because he wasn't doing the stories as much. He was doing the science and the researchers and really just going about the science part. And I told him, I said, I have this idea. I'm an old school podcaster, and I would love to do a podcast called Kratom Stories Podcast. He's like, go for it. And then I reached out to Mike Overstreet, who had his podcast. He was still doing it at the time. And what was his Kratom one? I can picture the logo. The Kratom Guy. Right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
The Kratom Guy
and
show.
his was
I want to say the Kratom Guy show, but it
was long form. It was long form. I can remember listening while I'm out walking my dog years before I met all of y'all. I was not able, like, the reason why I emerged as this big advocate about 3 years ago is because when I found Kratom just about 7 years ago, I was taking care of my mom at the time. I had moved in to be her in-home caregiver because my dad had suddenly passed away and she needed 24/7 care because she had been in a horrific accident years before. That's why I'm always careful taking a walk down the street because sometimes you leave your house to go take a walk down the street and guess what? You don't come home for 5 months. Yeah. So very lucky she survived. Anyway, I decided to take on, moving in and taking care of her because I had the ability to. That's when the whole Kratom thing happened, when I lost access to the meds and I found Kratom. So as soon as I can still remember, as soon as Kratom started working, like found the magic of it for my pain, I'm like, oh my God, the first thing I'm going to do is start a podcast. I'm going to call it Kratom Stories. I'm going to interview, because I'd already been doing podcasts for years. And I had the whole idea in my head, but I'm like, okay, but I have to wait till this chapter in my life is over because focusing on taking care of my mom and trying to work, it was a lot. So I had the idea. But I'm just surprised there's not more of this, that we need more. That's why I'm always telling people, make a video, make a video about how Kratom helps you and just put it out there. I know not everybody's comfortable. Make an anonymous social media account, do something. We need more positive voices out there.
Yeah, back we had the hashtag I am Kratom and we are Kratom. And if you type that into YouTube, you'll see all the different videos that were done back in 2016, 17 during that time. And it made a huge difference. It really did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they removed so many of those videos. There's a few left, but there were so many they removed when they went after, just kind of like Facebook. Once they found the Kratom word, they were gone. And I want to say there was a good 1,800 that were removed. It was sad.
Wow.
That is sad.
Yeah.
We got to fill them back up.
Well, I lost my YouTube back in December. This is my YouTube. I had to start at zero back in December. Like this is, I'm grateful for all the people that are here, and we're so glad so many of y'all found us so quickly. There was that 1 week we did our Kratom Gals on Venus's YouTube channel. Nobody knew where we were, but it's like we're not going away. Look, you can put whatever roadblocks you want in front of us. YouTube actually did some temporary. Stopped us temporarily a couple of times, and that still didn't. One of the times they wouldn't let me live stream was the morning of our Saturday live stream, and it's like there's always a workaround. So we'll always be here, but I'm just glad all the people that found us when we changed. That's why I made sure it has the same Kratom logo and trying to keep it all so y'all all realize when you're in YouTube, like, oh, there they are. Liberated Outcast is here. Good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
She said Instagram removed one of my posts. Social media is just, TikTok is always doing it. YouTube, they all do it.
Except school.
Okay, great point. This is why we have our school community. I've only been yelling it from the rooftops to have more people start their own. We've had our community there for over 2 years now. KratomRealTalk.com over on the school platform, where I pay for it out of my pocket because there's no censorship. I get to control it. And there's power in that, because we should be able to have conversations about Kratom without fear of the censorship. And I started our community back when TikTok deleted my first account, December 2023. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a new TikTok account because I always will. But I've been wanting to go ahead and set up some kind of separate online community because, again, that goes back to my background. I built my first online community in 1996. So I've been building online communities a long time. And I was already thinking I'd like to get something going for our community here to get more people together. And I was already in the school community, in other people's school communities. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get us set up there. I checked with the powers that be at school to make sure we would not have any problems talking about our natural Kratom leaf, and they had no problem with it. So I'm happy to pay out of my pocket so we have a home. And it's been a wonderful place. Hey, Amanda, good to see you in the chat. It's wonderful having a place where we can talk so freely and not worry. And it's not like the talk freely and we're bad mouthing people. It is a talk freely that we can talk about our plants without TikTok doing what they like to do to me and just like delete it and then give me a ban warning and leave that red ban warning notice on my profile that I have to see every day for months. It took forever for them to remove it. But, we need a place where we can talk freely.
Mhm.
And spell it correctly.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so funny when somebody comes from social media to school and you can see that like, I can spell it normal. I don't have to do the KR8, TOM, or do something weird. Like we can just freely talk about it. And it's exciting to see like Christopher has his school that he started, which I'm so happy he got one set up. So other people, we got them. There's a few others. There's a few of them out there, and it's just great. I love it. And school makes it a lot easier. I mean, that's one of the things I help people with is like, how to start an. I actually have it. I haven't really talked about this much. I do have a book that's going to be coming out. I don't know exactly when yet, but I used to do a podcast with a friend and colleague of mine about how to build online communities. And we've been working on a book for a while. So we're going to have a book version coming out. Usually all that stuff doesn't come into our Kratom community much, but, I encourage people to, utilize a platform like school. They have a much more affordable option now than, when I started our community. So school is SKOOL. All you gotta do is go to our kratomrealtalk.com. It'll take you right to our school community. It is a platform for online communities that to me is better than like a Facebook group because whoever is the owner of the group, there's a lot more flexibility. You can live stream in there. It's a forum. You can have a classroom. If you go to our kratomrealtalk.com, it's free to join. I don't charge anybody. I pay for it, but it's free. I want a nice place where we can hang out and talk freely without the censorship issue on social media. And yeah, Venus, you say it right. It's definitely a hub of information. So, well, y'all ready to? Oh, wait, before we start videos, for those that are not familiar with Angela's group, Botanical Advocacy and Education, I definitely encourage you all to go check out this website. They have so much great information for advocates of our plant, as well as y'all have this running page of like everything that's going on around the country with all these ban hearings. What's the latest? I love that y'all have this because you go to this call to action button here, and on this page, you've got the one long running list that y'all keep updated very regularly, as well as now I've noticed you've got the find your state, and I love that. So people can go look by state as well.
Yeah, I'm working on cleaning that up more. I've got 2 more updates to do after we're done today on there. So it's a constant thing because every time, just because it's the weekend doesn't mean something's not changing.
Yeah, definitely come join. Everybody should go sign up there and get. And if you come across information that they haven't updated, Robin's always saying contact them.
Yes, definitely.
To let them know. So Extreme says, I need to join. Talking about school, are there lives? Yes. By the way, we live stream. We twice a week. Venus, you want to chime in on that? Twice a week we host is a Zoom style live stream just for the community members.
Yeah, it's a group. It's come as you are. You can be on camera, be off camera. I usually do it from my bed. And we just sit and we have a conversation about anything you want to talk about. And we talk about everything, all kinds of different, like any questions you have about Kratom, we can answer. Advocacy. If you have a question about something totally different, we're open to that too. So it's just a great place, especially after being ill. Like you said, you lose contact with people. So it's a good place to just come together and just have a good talk.
And we got the calendar with all the stuff. So we do our support group twice a week. It's just a casual hangout. We just hang out, talk about whatever. You're surrounded by other fellow Kratom consumers. It's always great. We always have a great time. So yeah, come join us over all these conversations are going on talking about our plant. So come be a part of it. All right. So why don't we get into some videos as usual, I have lots for us to watch. And we're going to start off with just some of the news stories that have been circulating. I actually have one I didn't have time to play last week that I'm going to start with because we keep hearing about Tupelo, Mississippi, and I just didn't have time to play this last week, but this one had come out, and I want to just make sure everybody is aware of things that are going on around. And look, I understand that some of these videos may not, things change constantly with this. So if we play something that's like, oh, they've already voted or they've already, okay, let us know. Put in the comments, let us know. I'm just, sharing stuff that we've come across that's out there publicly. Sometimes we like to watch stuff even that might even be a little bit older just because it's the context so we can talk about it. There's so much misinformation, especially with the media. It gets really frustrating. So let's watch this one about Tupelo, Mississippi.
New at 6, no more Kratom in Lee County. The Board of Supervisors banned the sale and the use of Kratom this morning. It was a unanimous vote. The ban immediately goes into effect, and stores that sell the item have to remove it now. The Drug Enforcement Administration says consumption can produce both stimulant and sedative effects, often sold in gas stations. Tupelo, Guntown, Saltillo, all Lee County previously passed similar bans. Kratom is currently illegal in more than 36 counties and cities in Mississippi.
All right, it's a short one. Mississippi has really been under attack for several years, right?
Yeah, and to me, what gets me is, okay, if you want to ban the sale, okay, which I'm not happy with anyway, but to ban the use of it, it's to take a plant away from people that it's helping, that it just infuriates me. And some of them are now saying you can't grow either. So it just, for them to say that you can't even drive through there and use Kratom, it's not right.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, the thing is, if the issues almost always, well, I'm gonna be careful how I word this. I'm sure people turn this around the wrong way. We see so many issues because it's so easily accessible in gas stations and convenience stores, and put things behind a counter, make things so that a kid can't access it. They're
right.
responsible.
Only in places that have over 18 or over 21.
Yeah, responsible adults greatly benefit from Kratom. I mean, we don't hear about kids having issues. We don't hear about, oh, some kid, grabbed this at a convenience store. We just know it is more easily accessible that way. So Extreme is asking, how do they even enforce this possession? I don't know. That's a good question. Amanda says, get it out of gas stations. I bought cigarettes at the age of 12. Wow. Yeah.
Me too. I think I was 13 though, but yeah.
Yeah, Andrea says, where she's at, you have to show ID. I mean, it should be a place where you got to show ID and have it
definitely.
Angela's saying, I don't get why they just don't remove it from gas station convenience stores, because it seems at every hearing there's something that is always brought up. That is something that it was always brought up. I do not see kids even trying K. Yeah. I think they'd be disappointed.
Yeah. Well, if they take it out of gas stations, they can't call it gas station heroin anymore,
Right.
I'm so tired of the whole gas station heroin. Oh my gosh.
It just moves on to the next one every time.
It does.
A spice, and then it's a tianeptine, and that was supposed to be the one that was. So we can't even stay away from the gas station heroin because it keeps changing, and you never know which one is the bad one. So,
right.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah. Well, when we started the Kratom Gals show several years ago, the only time the news would say gas station heroin was tianeptine. That was the only, when you saw it in print or, online in the news or in a news story. It was always associated with that, not with Kratom. But then you start seeing that shift, and they love that as a talking point all the time. But it's so like, if people don't know about Kratom, I mean, wouldn't you kind of be scared? You're watching the news or reading the newspaper and you're like, gas station heroin.
Well, right, exactly.
Definitely,
That's what I
yeah.
mean. And you would want to stay away from it because, I mean, oh my God, it's gas station heroin. But they keep changing everything that they want to. They have an issue with or want to ban. They call it the same thing. So we wouldn't even be able to be safe to know like which one is. Am I making any sense? I mean, like you would never, if it keeps changing, how would you ever know which one to stay away from?
Right.
You'd
And they're
never be
giving
able
this, they're giving the stigma to anybody that is getting relief from plain leaf kratom by putting out that information.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, y'all, just like in the pain community. I mean, I can still remember in the 90s on the news all the time was how bad Oxycontin was because it was so highly abused. I mean, it was constant. So before I got into pain management, and Oxycontin was one of the better ones that worked well on me versus the others. I was like, I remember the first time doctor said, let's try Oxycontin. What's the first thing? I'm thinking of the 90s, how demonized it was in the news. And I'm thinking, well, that's a drug name I'm not going to say out loud to anybody. I mean, I just couldn't imagine telling anybody around me that, hold on, let me down my Oxycontin real quick. I think people would have been horrified at me. And I was one of those people in pain management. You would never know that I took all the pharmaceuticals if I didn't tell you. People had no idea because they didn't affect me. And the negative effects I had were the really bad constipation issues, way worse than with Kratom, which nobody talks about. Everybody talks about it with Kratom. They don't talk about the opiates. It's like, okay, well, it is a known thing with opiates, but for me, way worse issues with that. So because of the pharmaceuticals. But like, I didn't get like loopy and high, and I didn't have like a lot of issues, and I was on very high doses because I'm a fast processor. But I wasn't comfortable telling people around me because of how demonized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But when I found Kratom, and first of all, older, y'all know, older and wiser, we're definitely, and I'm definitely at the age now where it's like, I don't care what people think about anything. So, I tried Kratom. I mean, this is amazing. But I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is just a plant. Certainly, I'm not going to be demonized for this. So I wasn't too nervous I wasn't comfortable talking about it with doctors right away. I waited a bit, but I was still in shell shock from losing pain management. I'm sure y'all that have been through that can relate. Like, it's hard to trust doctors and the medical establishment when you have something like that happen. But eventually I did start, and I tell any doctor, I tell them all, and I make a point that when you list your medications, I list it as a medication. I love when you go see the doctor and the nurses, let's make sure you're still taking your meds or whatever you listed. And I love when they say Kratom. It's like,
oh, me too.
I'm helping to normalize our plant. And I know not everybody's comfortable with that, and I totally get it. But for those of you that are comfortable doing this, please do this. Because look, if a doctor said to me, well, I'm not going to treat you if you use Kratom, I'll be like, okay, then I will fire you and go elsewhere. I'm not going to let anybody in the medical establishment tell me that I cannot consume this plant that works way better than the opiates ever did.
Yep. And I love looking at in my portal and going down my list of refills and seeing Kratom and then my medical marijuana, you know what I mean? The plants instead of all these different medications.
I had a rheumatologist that I actually finally told her, and I brought some in like a little baby food jar. And she goes, well, it looks like weed. I said, it's not. And she smells it. She goes, it smells like dirt. And she goes, well, if it works. And then she said to me something I thought was very interesting. She said, everybody, she said, especially doctors, forget everything came from something natural. And then they synthesized it. She said, but nobody talks about this. They do more now, but back then, and my pulmonologist, he's all for anything natural. So he's been very supportive too. So that's nice.
That's so great. My primary doctor is totally on board with it because I when I finally got comfortable with it And I just started telling her every time I went. Well, she was newer for me when I finally got to this place where I need to speak up, because this is just an amazing plant. And I'm fortunate I'm in a big city. So if a doctor doesn't want to treat me because they have wrong information about kratom, that hopefully I can turn that around and educate them, then I will gladly go elsewhere. I'm not going to. I've heard the horror stories, and it's horrible to hear them from people, fellow kratom consumers, that said, I got dropped because they said, either you come to me or you choose your kratom, pick one. And if you're not if you're in a smaller community, I can see where it'd be terrifying, because it might not be easy to get another doctor, for what you need. But, we got to do what's best for us always. I'm just not afraid to advocate very loudly for natural kratom, because it's that important to me. Amanda says her primary doctor is on board too. I think that's great.
And the more that we do this, they're seeing that we're doing well. You know what I mean? We're making progress. We're hitting milestones. We're able to go out and do things. We're doing this, and they have to see that if it was that bad, we wouldn't be able to do all this. We would be back begging for medication from him, but we're not.
Yeah. Hey, Deborah, good to see you. Nobody's ever it's just like a casual Saturday hangout. Pop in whenever, stay as long as you like. So Mike, also known as Craig, is asking, is Utah a complete ban? Who has the latest on Utah?
I know about the ones that are coming up, but I'm not too sure about the ones that just happened. So.
Yeah. Craig, I would suggest going to the botanical, to the advocacy education website. And
the last I have, and like I said, I have updates to do still, is supposedly it was off the table for plain leaf, but I wouldn't hold me to that because I have some notes and stuff to go through for updating. So, but that was the last thing I have on our website.
Okay, I'm on your website. It says plain leaf is safe for this year, and that's what I've been hearing about too. Kratom modifications meeting was on February. I like that how y'all have everything linked on here. But yeah, I would go check on that. And, hopefully with the advocacy groups, they'll put out more information about what's going on in all these different states and keep us all updated. That's why it's best to sign up for their newsletters. Y'all know which ones. I'm not going to say them out loud anymore. No. Anyway, y'all know I've said them a million times here. But thanks for all the new viewers. We got 38 people here live with us. Thank y'all. Ever since we lost our YouTube channel a few months ago, it's usually less than that right now, but that's okay. Extreme says Utah ban extracts, keep pure leaf, no gas stations. Which KCPA says that, right? I mean, isn't that what the KCPA basically says? That, well, not extracts, but like 7-OH would be banned. If most of these KCPAs, the way they're written.
Yeah, over a certain amount, and that amount would definitely affect it already or cover it.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to hear that the plain leaf is safe.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need more regulation across the board for everything.
Oh, definitely.
How is mid okay, but 7-OH still isn't?
Right, and they're just banning the sale of it, right? They're not criminalizing anybody that comes in there with 7-OH, are they? It didn't sound like it. But I think that most of the 7-OH advocates don't want it in the gas stations or stores as well. So
you know what? I propose something. So what some advocates need to do is y'all should do like a weekly summary show and summarize I know people like to play hearings and stuff, which is great. We used to do a lot of that, but there's no need for us to do as many of those anymore. But do like a weekly summary. Have a show of a weekly summary, run down everything. And we need more people doing things like this.
Yep, I'll watch.
There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room for more people to, somebody should come up with like a weekly live stream. And let me just tell you from all my experience, live stream is the easiest. It's the least amount of work. It's the easiest way to go. Because if you record something, you're going to want to edit a gazillion times and then you're not going to get it out. Just do something live, put it up. It's quick and easy and informative. Make it informative. So that could be really helpful for people in the community. Because right now there's so much going on, we're all confused because it's hard to keep up with it. It just is constantly changing.
Yeah, constant is the perfect word for it too, because late yesterday, I want to say 4-ish, I'd have to look. I got my email from the Ohio Board of Pharmacy that they finally posted when our meeting will be. And that was at 4 or 5 p.m. last night. So I haven't even got all that information up on the website yet. Venus knows, though. I told Venus right away, but nobody else knows because it's not up anywhere.
Yeah. And I've heard Tennessee's under attack. I don't know what
Tennessee's another big one. I just did a big update yesterday, and I'm not finished on our website.
Yeah, so everybody just go check out their website. Just go to botanicalae.org. There's lots of info there. So,
yeah, and next week there's we have Washington State on Monday, Spokane, and then Maryland on Tuesday and Maryland on Thursday. Maryland has 2 of almost the same bills running simultaneously with 2 different committees. So,
wow.
And you can testify at Spokane. I think it might be too late for the first Washington one, but tomorrow you should be able to sign up for Thursday's Maryland one.
Okay.
We need everybody. Yep.
Good. Oh, and a shout out to all the people watching us on X, because I see we got, actually we got a lot of people over there versus YouTube, but we're on YouTube, we're on X. We appreciate everybody tuning in live with us. And the replay will be available as soon as this is over as well. Deborah is asking, I'm trying to find out if I should show up to the hearing that's on March 4th. If you live in Tennessee and you have that ability, yes. It always helps to show up in person.
Look at my update I just did on the Botanical Advocacy and Education website. I just did a huge update yesterday on everything for the Tennessee March 4th. So you can read through that and decide if you want to go or you just want to send in a testimony.
I'll pull up the screen real quick so we can take a quick peek at it. All right, so Tennessee, this is the updated. So what you do is you go into the navigation right here at call to action, and the second item says find your state. The long running page of everything is the first link. Second one is find your state, and you can scroll through. But I have Tennessee right here, so you've got all the details in here and where to go. So this is great. And a link to watch the live video.
And a template on how to write.
That's amazing. We've needed stuff like this. Wow. This is
stuff we used to have that
this is so great.
We're bringing back.
Wow. I love this page. Thank y'all for doing this. I know that's a lot of work. Very much needed. I'm glad y'all are doing that.
And it's all part of the grassroots advocacy. You need all these tools.
100%. And we need everybody. Yeah. I mean, everybody
working together.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Because it takes a village.
It really does. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. Angela's saying so many have hearings and banning it it's a lot right now. And yeah, Extreme Connecticut, my understanding, Connecticut made it Schedule 1.
Which still baffles me because of all the positive comments, or not to ban it, that came through, over 400, I think over 450, 33 that were for it, but yet they still do it. So that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Those are people that made up their mind already and weren't going to change no matter what they heard, sadly.
Definitely. And we got to see it front row.
Right. Exactly. Deborah, I'm glad you and your husband are going to go in Tennessee. That'll be great. Keep us posted. Let us know how that goes. And if y'all are able to get up and testify in the hearing, let me know, because we'll play it we'll play it here on the show if it's available. Look, I only play the stuff that's public. I'm not screen recording, these Zoom hearings and posting them online. That's you can get in a lot of trouble doing that. That's a copyright violation. Anything, as long as it's public and it's public access to it, then that's the only thing I'd be comfortable playing on here. But anytime anybody here in our community, if y'all speak at any of these hearings, local, state, federal, whatever, at any time, if there's a public link to it, send it over, put the timestamp, and we will play it here.
Yeah, and there usually is. If it's not live immediately, then afterwards they usually put it up there. So
yeah,
but I'll be watching and I'll find it too.
It's also a good thing to watch to see how people do it, to maybe give yourself more confidence so you can do it yourself. I mean, because when I went up to the Ohio Board of Pharmacy, I was nervous. I won't lie. But once you do it, or you watch a lot of other people do it, you gain confidence from that.
Right. Exactly. That's why, we play some of them here when I do that is to encourage other fellow Kratom consumers here that want to, because so many people say to me, I want to advocate, I want to do more, I don't know what to do. That's why we need more tools. We need more education with that of how to advocate. And that's what I've always felt like has been missing since I discovered Kratom. I mean, it's great getting emails and clicking on links. I was hoping there'd be more information, like more details of what can we do, getting involved, how to do it. Last year when Texas was under attack, every time I made a TikTok video, so many fellow Texans were like freaking out, messaging me like, what can we do? What can we do? We want to get involved. And, I just collected everybody's email address. And as I found out things, I emailed everybody so they'd be more in the loop rather than waiting on social media. And the algorithm may feed it to you. It may not. So you may not even get stuff. So it's important to be getting stuff in a manner where you're not relying on a social media algorithm. But people want to do more. They're like, what else can I do? Do I need to go to Austin? Should I go call my rep? Should I do this? Should I do what can I do right now?
And even the questions like, how do I talk to a representative on the phone? That's a lot of things that the BAE will help you with if you need help with that and walk you through it. And like they say, hold your hand. And that's how I got started in the beginning. I was terrified. I can remember sitting down by my bed and writing everything down and just being so nervous. But it's easier. The more you do it, the easier it is. And then you can call when they're not there too and just leave a message and have it put on public record.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Angela, I remember you were one of the fellow Texans. We were all freaking out, especially because we have a KCPA here. So it's like, okay, that makes no sense. If you were enforcing the KCPA, then you wouldn't have the issue with 70H. You wouldn't have, some of these issues.
Well, it's just like Maryland.
I think
Maryland had it.
My personal opinion, based on everything I've seen out in the public eye, it's just a reminder for our viewers here. Somebody's probably watching is going, they are so misinformed or they don't know what we're talking about. I'm sure there are plenty of people watching this that know more than we do because you're on the inside. But we are having a discussion talking about based on what we see, what we hear, how we interpret it, and just our lived experience. So I just want to throw that out there, just as an FYI. Extreme says Virginia is passing strict regulatory bill and sounds like there's disagreement over the labeling. Virginia wants to have very scary wording. That's not good. Why don't we get back to some video? I only played one video so far. That's so not like us. But I love when we just have lots to talk about because that's always good too. The next news story I want to play is Michigan. Michigan's under attack right now. So here's a news story that just came out a few days ago.
The news now, state lawmakers are looking to ban kratom. It's an herbal extract often sold in smoke shops and gas stations. The bill claims it's addictive and can cause health problems. Others say there are some health benefits. Fox 2's Scott Walczak now live in Oak Park with reaction on both sides of the story. Scott.
Hey, Charlie. Yeah, you know what? Kratom, there is a bill looking to ban it. And we've had discussions about this. A lot of people don't really seem to know what Kratom is. Well, it comes from a plant in Southeast Asia. I guess they grind it up and you've got the powder for sale. But there's a big difference between just the powder from the leaves and some of this powder from the leaves that's mixed with other things. So remember back when they had the synthetic marijuana at the gas stations? Well, a lot of times this stuff has been kind of referred to as gas station heroin. Now, people that say that the Kratom has helped them, they're saying that, hey, they use this for an herbal supplement. It helps with their pain, all this kind of stuff. Of course, on the other side of the aisle, the people who are trying to get rid of this stuff say that it's super addictive and it is in the hands of kids because it's not very regulated. Of course, you got to take a listen to the American Kratom Association, as well as one of the lawmakers looking to ban this stuff. Take a listen.
There are approximately 24 million people who use Kratom. That roughly breaks down to a third of people that use it for a replacement for a cup of coffee to give an energy boost and increase focus. And then another third use it to at a little higher serving size to manage anxiety and depression. And then the third group, and this is where most of the focus is today, is helping people get off of opioids or to manage their acute and chronic pain.
It's an opioid. And it's unregulated here. A lot of people see those things, pills in the gas stations and at the smoke shops and wonder what they are. It's kind of been nicknamed on the street gas station heroin. If you take too much of it, and they don't have doses on there because this is an unregulated, it's like the Wild West out there. They market it to children. They make it in cotton candy flavors. They put it in pink, and kids can go out. You can be 12 years old and go buy this product. So we've got a whole generation of young children that are hooked on opioids that are unregulated by the state.
What the speaker should do is follow the science, follow what the commissioner of the FDA now says, that the dangerous product is a chemically synthesized and manipulated product called 7-OH. Focus on that.
Well, you heard it right there from the American Kratom Association. Focus on that. So that bill still has to make its way through the House and the Senate. Of course, we will let you know what happens live in Oak Park.
All right. That's interesting, some of the things they were saying in that.
What
Kids.
children are these they're talking
kids.
about? You can't get it unless
Right.
you're 21. They're going to card you, especially if you go in a vape shop. You can't walk in the door unless you're 21. My son's
Yeah.
31. He still gets carded at vape shops.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
they act like-
12-year-olds are getting it, then 12-year-olds don't need to be getting it, and it needs to be in somewhere where, you know, there's age restrictions, 21. But I
Right.
just, you know, that's just part
Yeah.
of the story that they go on to tell because we all want to save the children.
Yeah. They make it sound like somebody's going in there buying it up and then going out on the streets to sell it to the
Mhm.
children, and that's just not happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have nephews in college. They know about Kratom because of me. They never have heard anything at college about Kratom or 7-OH, none of that.
Until they're given a heads up by the news and everything else, making a big deal out of it, saying, and if I was a kid, I'd be thinking, boy, they don't want me to have it, so I'm going to go get it now. you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah.
Then they taste it and they change their mind.
Right. Exactly. Becca should be joining us at any time. She'll be our second hour add-on, joining
Nice.
us all here. So I think we're going to switch gears now. And I was saying earlier when we first started that Bev Schechtman from Doctor Patient Forum put out a really interesting, very long format video this week talking about Andrew Kolodny, who's known for being, you know, that prop group trying to get opiates taken off the market because we're all addicts, us pain patients, you know. So now it seems like he's coming after Kratom and getting involved in that because, you know,
Yeah.
money.
Mhm.
Here comes Becca. Let me add her on. Hey, Becca.
Hi.
Good to see
Hi,
you.
Becca.
Hello, guys. How are you?
We're good. It's
Doing
so good to see
good.
you.
How are you feeling?
There we go. Awesome. I'm feeling well, much better. Thank you so much.
Good.
I appreciate the break, and I missed you guys.
We
It
missed
feels
you
so
too.
nice.
We missed you.
Yeah, we missed you too.
I agree there. Kids are not interested.
No, they're not.
But I was listening to what you were just saying, and I completely agree. And Andrew Kolodny is definitely coming after Kratom, and I think we've always kind of been a little interested in him and expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just interesting what's going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't even know about that either. It's disgusting, but we know about it now, so now we can deal with it.
Yeah, and that's nice.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we're glad you're here with us, Becca. We've missed you, and it's always good having you here. And you know what? You and Angela know each other, right? Do y'all know each other or no?
We know of each other. I mean,
Yes,
we've been
in
both
the
been
very
around a long
least.
time.
Yeah, y'all are both OG.
And
Good to see
yeah,
you,
and I
Sandy.
way back when I used to buy from them all the time. So, yep.
Cool. Well, glad that we're all here together. Yeah, the whole Kalani thing, we devoted a big chunk to our Kratom Gals episode. It was January 3rd. We did an episode. Bev Scheckman had done this big video talking and putting all the dots together because you got KDA publicly admitting in a podcast. I love Bev. She has all the receipts. And that's how I operate too. When you got the receipts, you can't dispute things. She's playing, the podcast where head of KDA says working with Kalani or talking to Kalani, coming on board, just the whole thing. So we were like watching it going, whoa. So Bev has a new one now, continuing with Kalani. So first I'm going to play a little clip from the January 3rd. Before we had done a deep dive into her earlier one in January, I kind of did this monologue. I want to play that for y'all to kind of refresh your memory of like this very impactful discussion we were having because it affects this kind of thing has affected a lot of us in the pain community. And it's because of what Kalani has been doing for over a decade. So let me play. It's going to be kind of meta because, it's us on the screen with us on the side here. Let me play a little bit of this. This is what we're getting ready to watch. So today we're going to talk about a familiar playbook that many of us have already lived through. It's now on the record. It's not a rumor. It's not speculation. It's about statements made publicly in someone's own words that connect some very important dots. And this person is Wendy Chamberlain, head of KDA. She's the one that started KDA, Kratom Danger Awareness. What's come to light is a connection that matters because of who is involved and what history tells us about how this usually plays out. We pain patients lost access to legitimate pain management and were told it was necessary for public health. We were told the harm was unintended. We were told it was the cost of doing the right thing. Now we're hearing familiar language again. Talk of education shaping policy, litigation being discussed before outcomes are measured. A narrative forming that leaves out the people who will be most affected, and that's us. We're going to talk about why the involvement of the same expert voices matter. That's going to be Dr. Andrew Kolodny from PROP, the Physicians for Responsible Opioid Prescribing. Google him if you don't know who he is. So we're going to hear about the involvement of him in these voices, these expert voices, and why pain patients keep getting erased from these conversations and why Kratom consumers may be heading down that same kind of collateral damage that we already saw with opioids. And let me be clear, grief is real, loss is real, but grief does not justify collateral damage. And that's why I think so many of us are fired up about this. This matters because this isn't just about Kratom bans. It's about who controls the narrative and gets sacrificed when policy is driven by ideology and litigation strategy instead of lived experience. And that's why I do the podcast and why I do this live stream, so that we could talk about lived experience, because people need to know about what we all have been through. So pain patients were never asked, and now Kratom consumers are not being asked. we've seen this playbook before, and that's why we're going to talk about it today. So now's the time for us to watch this video. Anytime, I'm sure I'm going to stop a lot so we can talk about it. But y'all, if there's something you want me just say, just yell out. I'll stop it so we can talk. But here's Bev Scheckman. They have a great YouTube channel. That's where she has this on YouTube and X. Be sure to go to Doctor Patient Forum. So let's watch this. If you've not seen it yet, you're going to get really pissed off. But we got to bring this to light, and we got to keep this discussion going for a long time. So here we go.
Something happened that made me know for a fact that this wasn't just a familiar feeling, that I wasn't just thinking, maybe there's going to be litigation.
All right, I'm going to stop there because now what I'm going to do is switch it. So that was the one that was back in January. We played a lot of it here on that episode. So now we're going to switch gears because I just wanted to kind of jog everybody's memory and how much, with those of us in the pain community, and we all got riled up with that amazing reporting Bev did. So she has this brand new one. It is an hour and 46 minutes long. Definitely encourage those that are interested in this to go. I will have the link to it in our YouTube channel later today. Anything that we've watched on screen, these public videos, I always put into the YouTube description later. I know plenty of people are watching on X right now. Just come over to Kratom Real Talk on YouTube if you want the links later. But you could also just go to YouTube and go to Doctor Patient Forum. So I'm going to play some different clips. This first one is 5 minutes long, but she sets up the whole thing and it's really interesting. Like she's basically continuing where she left off back in early January with all of this. So let's take a watch. And if y'all want me to, if anybody at any time wants to stop to talk about, because we might want to stop a little bit. I'll probably pause a few times, but just speak up and I'll pause it. Just say, hey, please pause, or just yell anything, whatever.
As part of my normal routine, I spend a lot of time listening to webinars, panels, conferences in addiction medicine, public health, and of course, all things related to pain management and opioids. I've listened to the same type of webinars so often that it is sometimes just almost background noise at this point, something I listen to while doing other things, especially when it's the same people saying the same things. A couple months ago, I was listening to another Knockout Opioid Abuse Day webinar, something I've done many, many times. And of course, once again, they had Andrew Kolodny speaking. Here's the thing about Andrew Kolodny. He gives the same presentations. And I mean, since I started listening to him in 2017, he gives the same presentations every single time. I've heard it so many times, I basically have it memorized. So I truly was not expecting anything new. I was literally putting away laundry while listening, kind of half paying attention, when suddenly I was like, wait a second, what did he just say? And I grabbed my phone and I texted Carrie Judy, who is absolutely my researcher partner in crime. I call her that because we've been doing this together since probably, was it 2017, 18? I don't know. But it's been a very, very long time. And I knew she would understand exactly what I was talking about when I said to her, did he just change his presentation? Did he just actually mention Kratom? I mean, both of us could recite his speeches word for word. I know his slides, and this was new. So we were both like, that's kind of weird. But we knew that what he does deliberately. So it wasn't a throwaway comment, and it surely wasn't a mistake. And both of us were like, this must be a signal. So I am going to play the clip for you that we heard, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
How do we bring our opioid addiction epidemic under control? I've covered this. We have to prevent more Americans from becoming addicted to opioids. More than anything else, that involves more cautious use of opioids. But I also think we have to think more about Kratom, which...
Can you believe he threw Kratom in there? Like, thank God Bev caught that. By listening to his usual repetitive discussion every time he's on these, but he threw out Kratom. What's y'all's initial? We'll keep watching more, but what's y'all's initial reaction when you hear that?
I have a question for him and KDA. What are we supposed to use?
Yeah.
What are you gonna? Tylenol?
They don't care.
You know, I would like to seriously ask them that question.
So against opioids that just the fact that kratom can act like one on the receptor partially, that it's got to go as well. And this will be the same exact playbook that it was before.
Yeah.
Just
But-
replacing the
but
words,
exactly.
interchanging the words.
And we lose our opiates because of his
Mhm.
playbook. And now he wants to take away our natural leaf kratom to continue his
Mhm.
playbook. And what's fascinating, we're not going to have time to play a lot of it because, again, this is a very long video Beth made. But I encourage y'all that are interested in this to watch the whole thing or just listen to it. I mean, it's just really a podcast. You just listen to it. Because she puts the whole thing together. And it's just this amazing reporting on her part. And it's the same exact opioid playbook. And it's always about money. It's about the lawsuits. And she has all the dots. And again,
And he gets paid a lot of money to testify against opioids.
Yeah. So,
or whatever he's testifying against at that time, because
or he's speaking
didn't you do
on
it to cannabis too?
why can't they just leave us alone? Why can't they just leave us be? It was already bad enough we went through this with opioids. And now here they come because they want more money. Let's just get the lawsuits. But she puts the dots all together with the lawsuits. The ones now and the ones that are coming. But let me get back to it. It's just, I just can't believe he's like, there he goes, bringing up kratom.
I'm seeing more and more patients who their opioid addiction is beginning with kratom. So it's more than just reducing unnecessary prescriptions, although I think that's the largest piece of it. We have to see that people who have OUD have access to effective treatment. One of the first line, I think the first line treatment for opioid use disorder is buprenorphine. But we've got to do much better in seeing that people get treated more easily.
So again, I remember thinking, that's strange, because up until that moment, Andrew Kolodny, as we all know too well, has been extremely clear for years that prescription opioids were absolutely the primary driver of opioid addiction. That was the backbone of his entire argument. Reduce prescription opioids, lower new onset addiction. That framing justified everything that followed. Forced tapers, refusal of pain medication, the harm, the suffering, all the sacrifices in the name of public health, right? All about prescription opioids. And now suddenly it's kratom, not a side note, not a footnote, but as the main culprit. He didn't say, oh, here's another thing to keep an eye on. He said the main issue, the majority, most of the patient he sees. And I was honestly confused for more than one reason here, because when he said patients I'm seeing, my first thought was, wait a second, what patients? When did Andrew Kolodny start seeing patients again? Because according to Andrew Kolodny himself, he hasn't seen patients for a very, very long time. I'm going to play a clip here from a 2019 podcast that he did with Mitch Rosenthal.
Well, about almost 2 years ago now, I stopped seeing patients. I very infrequently see patients now.
Because you were too busy.
Yes, I was doing my research, my teaching, and then when the litigation against opioid manufacturers began to get going, and at first I was volunteering my help on some of these cases, but it became it required too much time, and so that's when I stopped doing clinical work.
When I heard him say most of the patients I'm seeing now started with kratom, I was like, sure, okay, and that was the moment I knew exactly what I was looking at, because I saw this before. This wasn't that kratom suddenly became the root of all opioid addiction. This was Andrew Kolodny reframing and creating a crisis. And when Andrew Kolodny reframes and creates a crisis, either he's already retained as an expert or he's positioning himself to be. He's done this type of thing before, either right alongside or right before litigation. And once you see that, this stops becoming about kratom, this stops being about opioids, and it starts being about a system, a pattern, and a machine we've already lived through once. Mass tort litigation doesn't wait for harm to be proven. It builds a narrative that makes a lawsuit possible. And the engine behind that is money, specifically third-party litigation funding.
I'm gonna stop here because I mean she just keeps going with all of this, but she is making so many amazing points here, and she so busted him with that podcast he did.
It all makes sense.
It really does, doesn't it? I'm gonna play more clips, but that was a good stopping point just to get more thoughts from you all before we go to the next part. So to any other thoughts before we move on? It's so interesting.
It is very interesting. I mean, like I said before, I wasn't surprised that he eventually jumped over to Kratom. Dismayed, definitely, but it's just crazy to see him backpedal and blame T over everything and just pretend that nothing else exists, just like the media is right now. And
And Kratom does not force people onto opioids and harder drugs. It's the other way around for most people. It's their exit. It's getting them off of it, or it's stabilizing people who need an element of pain relief or more. Some people get more pain relief. Some people get it mild. Some people get more than that from T.
Yeah.
But he's making it sound like it's the gateway. That Kratom becomes the gateway to opioids. And then he mentioned Suboxone, which is a real partial opioid. I mean, it's real. It's not right. Exactly. So, of course, they want everybody to, that's the gold standard for everything nowadays.
A well-timed
pain, everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think he thinks he got away with it with the opioids. He got what he wanted. They got all backed out. And I think he really thinks we're all just too sick and too tired to fight back. But now we can all fight together against him now that we see what he's doing. So, we got the pain patients and Kratom. So, because I don't think either one should be taken away. I think they should have whatever works for them.
Well, kudos to Bev for catching. I mean, she is like eagle eye catching these details that I think it'd be easy to miss. And she puts the dots, when she did the one in January, and it was long form too. And I remember listening to it going, man, she puts every dot together to paint this entire picture. And when I saw that this one was super long, I mean, this one we're watching clips from is 1:46. It is long, but it keeps your attention because she's got it all mapped out.
And then he's leading people to believe that he's seeing all these patients, but then she catches him and plays that, and he hardly sees any. So he probably doesn't work with them at all, and maybe comes in contact with one or two people that he could call a patient, but he's leading it, he's making us believe that it's more, that he's seeing more than what he's seeing, and she caught him.
Right. Or maybe he's listening to the ones that are going to the lawyers and the mothers.
That's possible. That's possible.
Because that was one of the things that she said, I think last week, that was in his playbook, was using the grieving mothers to get the things he wanted done. Because nobody can say anything after that. Because and we feel empathy, and nobody wants to say anything. But the fact is Kratom is helping us, and we should be able to speak back. And the representatives aren't asking for proof. They're just hearing this and accepting it as being the truth and not looking at the reports.
Well, this is something I always say, and it falls right into this. They want to ban this because they believe it killed their child. I personally can't imagine living through that. However, let's look at Tylenol, for example. 450 to 500 people a year die from that. That isn't going away. Well, alcohol, all these other things. What are we supposed to do? They're going to ban all these? Because it's illogical to me. And it all seems to go back to money. The cash cow.
Always about money.
Drugs, the rehabs.
Yeah, it really is. It's always the money.
And then Kratom and coffee come from the Rubiaceae tree. They're both in the same family together. And so if somebody has a predisposition to maybe withdrawing from coffee, there might be a little withdrawal from Kratom. But so far, coffee has been worse for me than Kratom has ever been. And I know that we all vary. Individuals vary. But it wouldn't be... If it's only the tea, it wouldn't, and it's not in massive amounts. It's fairly mild.
Yeah.
Coffee withdrawal will cause me a couple day headache, and that's
Oh,
about it.
caffeine is
But the
brutal.
tea was just blah. It was just mostly just a blah feeling. Like you don't have your pain relief, so you're going to feel blah anyway because there's no relief. And then, if anything more, it was just like but you're not sick, you're not vomiting, you're not sweating, you're not, these things are not occurring. So, yeah, they just make stuff up bigger and bigger to try to get it bye-bye or not let us have it so that they can give us Suboxone or be under the control of doctors who aren't going to help us anyway. But if they do, that can be gabapentin or Suboxone.
Yeah, yeah, and that way they change
They
your
get their
title
money.
from
Yeah.
and they change your title from a pain patient, and now you're labeled as an addict just because you're taking that Suboxone. That's what people think.
Yep.
And I just can't believe that doctors are telling pain patients that, like, we'll put you on Suboxone. It's like, oh,
Especially since there is a pain medication specifically with that medication in it for pain patients that they could, that they could prescribe.
Well, they think we're all addicted to opiates and that we're not responsible. Yes, people got addicted. Yes, there are issues, but there's a thing that needs to be brought up. The people that abuse their opiates are going to abuse something else. The people that are abusing 7-OH right now, you're going to take it away and they're going to go to something else.
That's right.
Okay, and then the responsible
Always
people,
going to be that way.
and once again, this is my little once a week, since we're going down the 7-OH road, to, as always, because I know people on both sides, they seem to hear the opposite of what comes out of my mouth. So turn on the closed captioning to make sure you get it right. I consume natural kratom. I'm about to come up on my 7-year anniversary of taking it every day, about 4 times a day, daily for my chronic pain. It helps way better than the opiates. I don't take 7-OH. I have no need for 7-OH because my natural kratom powder works so darn well. I don't like the 7-OH, manufacturers and how they put these products out there and kept upping and upping the amount of it to the point that is the people that have addiction issues are having problems because of that. And that's just greed. And there needs to be more oversight. There needs to be regulations. But putting something in a Schedule 1 where you cannot research it and you're going to criminalize people that are responsible, I don't agree with that. So I'm not a 7-OH advocate. Turn on your closed captionings. I'm not a 7-OH advocate, but I do not demonize people in the pain community that are responsibly using it and getting great benefit. That's like telling me that, I should be demonizing my chronic pain friends that get great results with Oxycontin and Percocet. Because, it's like, we all have the right to our own beliefs. And for the millionth time, I'm stating my belief and my position on this, even though, like I said, both sides somehow cross it, like I say the opposite of what I said. But, all this stuff just, to me, just always seems like it's about money. It's always about money, this whole thing with Kalani.
And division, money and dividing us.
Yes. The 7-OH money is like, what about the rest of us that we just don't want to live in pain and we don't want to suffer?
That's right.
And we're all caught in the crossfire of this. And it's getting tiring because many of us already went through this with pharmaceuticals. And now it looks like we're about to have, Kalani in the mix. Same thing. It's like, oh, look who's showing up. I'll get off my high horse now. Somebody else can talk.
And how can we demonize people for choosing a different option to relieve their own life, to ease and relieve their own life?
Right.
That's my place with it. So I would not do that, to other people. But if other people want to do that to me, that's fine.
Personal
God is for me, who can be
responsibility.
against me? Yep.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Yep. And I feel like we're all plain leaf kratom advocates from the beginning, from the start. You know what I mean? And we all need to stick together to fight and keep the plant legal. We don't need the division. We don't need the separation just because somebody has found something else like Twinkle that helps their pain. I'm not going to judge them for that when they're using it responsibly in small doses. And they're not looking at the names. They're not looking for the highest dose. They're just looking for relief.
Yeah. Well, and Twinkle, you really helped us understand the responsible use of 7-OH through your discussion when you got to the point that you started getting comfortable talking about it here. And it's all about education, and you really educated us to like see another perspective that we weren't seeing before. It's so easy to jump on the demonization bandwagon, and we did it with extracts. People that used to be on here every week with us screamed the loudest about the extracts. You know, there's always something that's being demonized, and it's easy to jump on the bandwagon. So we were all talking about, you know, why are these extracts so strong and why are they so easily accessible?
I did too. I said the same thing because we were seeing these news reports. These things were coming out from the news reports of these people spending thousands of dollars a week on these little extracts. I mean, I said the same thing. I was like, wow, ouch. I mean, so, but if somebody's going to do that, they have their problem is worse than the item they're purchasing. That's all I'm hearing. That's they have to work things out for themselves, because then that gets into, you know, obsessive compulsive disorders and all that. I'm just saying it gets into more mental health things than just the item or the medicine or the illicit or that somebody is overusing. You know, it's so, you know, but I'm glad that I was comfortable to tell you all, and that you were very respectful, and that's just it. You're not a 7-0 advocate, nor would I don't consider myself really a 7-0 advocate, but I support them both to be regulated and kept safe and not turned into the black market and not be a Schedule 1 so that people aren't criminalized. That's really my only, and that if it were to stay, that there needs to be strict regulation so that kids don't have access, that it's not in the corner stores and everything like that. So I don't think that I'm on a different page than anybody else's, but it's like I'm getting put in this other area that that's it's untrue, you know.
Right. Like you're asking for something different. Like you want it in the stores and you don't want the regulations, but no, we all want the regulations because we all know prohibition doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some of y'all may remember that, you know, recently here on the show, we watched that really interesting interview that Ryan Nidell did, you know, big Kratom manufacturer, when he was on that Julian Dory podcast. And that guy's podcast, he has like over 1 million subscribers, and it was almost 3 hours long. And I play, you know, one of the segments in there that was so interesting is when he made a statement about 7-OH and not demonizing, you know, admitting that there are people that responsibly use it. And it's just, it doesn't mean we're advocating for it, or it's like, there is another side to this that we should look at. Let's stop hating on people. But I will never hate on anybody in the pain community, because I've been in the pain community for
I'm not
20 years, and I'm not going to,
same.
you know, that's just,
and people need options, and if people choose to, I mean, darn well be safe with it and make sure that you're not, you know, I won't even refer people to it, but I will tell my story in regards to me with it. I don't want to, you know, for Kratom one thing, for 7-0, I'm just gonna, but I'm not. I might show up at a hearing to say regulate it all, but I'm also not. Well, I wouldn't have time for it anyway. I barely have time to do. You know, I'm trying to do is what I can for tea. Not I don't have time for all the extra, but definitely would not demonize somebody for trying to have pain relief instead of, you know, thinking about killing themselves, because their doctors have force tapered them or entirely abandoned them, or they have no access at all. So I'm not, I'm not going to be in that kind of mindset towards other people. So,
Yeah, but you're doing a great job. You're educating, you're taking their fear away so people can be responsible, know what they're getting, or turn away from it, you know,
That's
and
right.
know that when you see something that says 150, 200 milligrams, that's not what pain
No.
patients are taking.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
Anybody I've talked to in the
Exactly.
pain community that uses, a lot of them do like what Twinkle said, the nibbles. I mean, Twinkle's the one
Yeah.
that came up with that term because that's how she always described it. And it was so interesting how like you really created a great term, Twinkle, because when you talk about nibbles is so easy to like visualize like what you mean. You consume your natural 7-OH, but when you're having a bad pain day, you'll supplement little
Just get the
nibble.
little nibble.
And your little nibble of 7-OH, my understanding when you've talked about this is you're thinking it's like the actual 7-OH is one of the super low ones. You're not like
well, it used to be like 1 gram, and so I had 1.25. So maybe now it might be 2 at a time, but that's it. You
2
know,
milligrams?
it's not that 2 milligrams. What between 1.25, because I cut them up so many times, to 2 milligrams at a time. That's it. And I might have that a couple of times a day, but you know, I'm not going over the small tablet that I have.
Right. And those tablets are only 10 to 14 milligrams each anyway, aren't they?
Right. It's a 12. Formerly, I was only taking the 10, but a different place that I like better, that I like their testing and their processing. I mean, everything that they were doing, their lowest are 12. So I was using that too. But other than that, then it was just the 10 milligram ones. So,
yeah, and that's a huge difference from the big amounts that people are talking about that are causing problems. It's not just 10 milligrams, 14 milligrams that are causing problems.
Right. And I've even heard from some people with like spina bifida and other extreme painful conditions that they are doing okay with, I think, like a 20 2 to 3 times a day. I'm far away from that. If it were to remain, I would be far away from being able to, because I do try to push through pain as well. I'm never going to be at a 0. I'm never going to, sometimes I get a little 2-3 non-weight bearing for a couple minutes at a time, but there would be no reason, when my body is already the way that it is, to keep taking something to find more relief in it when it's just never going to be that way. So I always have to suck up part of, you know, and I still take the ibuprofen and the Tylenol. I try to be safe with that, but you know, we can get out of line with that too. And so, you know, yeah, I wouldn't take the higher amounts, but I wouldn't tell somebody else that, you know, they shouldn't, but I would say be darn good and careful with what you're taking.
Be a responsible adult.
Absolutely.
And educate yourself. That's the thing that's always, I know we're all different. Before I started Kratom, I did a lot of research. I will research. I mean, I definitely do more than the average person. If the doctor wants to prescribe something new, I'm going to go research it first. I'm going to like check everything. And that's just me. And then interesting how so many people will talk about, you know, oh, I just take stuff. I don't even know what it is. And it's like, whoa. So responsible use is educating yourself, and that falls on you as an adult to do that. And it's not, you know, demonize us when we're responsible, yet you're the one causing these problems, you know, with opiates, with 7-OH, with whatever. Take some responsibility. Regulation is the way to go.
Right, I agree.
So I'm going to play another clip. I got a couple more clips from that video that Bev did this week. I'm going to play a shorter one right now, and then I've got a longer one. So let me play this part.
It's a choice. So I know we haven't spent much time yet discussing Kratom and how the Kratom lawsuits are being built. At this point, some people might be saying, well, Kratom lawsuits are not anything like the opioid lawsuits that, you know, people are talking more about Kratom, like experts and public health experts, because it's just being used more and it's more dangerous, that everyone seemed to just sort of notice it at the same time. But that theory falls apart the moment you listen to the lawyers themselves. Because long before Kratom was framed as a public health emergency, it was already being discussed as the next litigation target, not by activists, not necessarily even by parents, but by lawyers. Earlier, before I told you that Ronit Lev on High Truths had a cannabis lawyer and a Kratom lawyer back to back. So I'm going to play a clip from that Kratom lawyer.
I realized my mic was muted. Sorry. I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to forward to another spot where I'm going to play a longer clip to wrap up her video, because I just wanted y'all to see these parts that really stood out to me. But I would definitely recommend watching the whole thing because it is, or listening to it because it's so good. So let me let me get this up on the screen for y'all. So this is a longer stretch. If anybody wants to stop to interrupt, just let me know.
Movement. It's what I think is AstroTurf, and there already is a formal Kratom litigation group. Yeah, there it is, inside the trial attorney ecosystem. This isn't a discussion group. It's a litigation group, full stop. I mean, that fact alone doesn't prove wrongdoing, but it does prove some form of readiness. It shows that Kratom has already been categorized, not as a substance to study carefully, not as a policy question to, discuss cautiously, but as a product being prepared for mass tort litigation. La Jolla Playbook is this litigation strategy that emerged in the late 90s and early 2000s. And they basically were like, we're going to take what we did against tobacco and we're going to use it in other products. That was the goal. Shape the public narrative first through experts, media, policymaking, so that by the time lawsuits were filed, the outcome was already framed as basically inevitable. Evidence comes later, stories come first. That's what La Jolla Playbook is about. You seed concern, you align experts, you prepare lawmakers, you wait for plaintiffs. By the time lawsuits arrive, the story has already been decided. This is about setting the stage for litigation. And that's why this isn't hypothetical. What I'm telling you is happening in Kratom. We're seeing the La Jolla Playbook. We are seeing it happen in real time. Once the narrative is prepared and lawmakers are primed and the advocacy language is standardized, the next step is, of course, amplification. This is where concern stops being confined to hearings and podcasts and starts appearing as actual fact, not in courts, but in media, in the headlines. I'm going to play a clip for you. This was a recent clip addressing Kratom.
There's a drug, a substance that's being sold at Utah gas stations and service stations, and it's called Kratom, Kratom. And some people describe it as gas station heroin.
So that phrase, gas station heroin, okay? Gas station heroin, and we've seen this repeated often now. It's doing a lot of work for them because in 2025, most experts will tell you there is very little heroin, if any, on the streets. So why are they calling this gas station heroin when there's illicit fentanyl and other synthetics? But when media outlets still insist on using this word heroin, this isn't about accuracy at all. This is about imagery. Think about heroin. It contains one of the most stigmatized mental pictures that we have. It's like you think of someone says heroin, you think of someone with a needle in their arm in an alley, homeless, they're dirty, they're desperate, they're beyond help. This image is absolutely intentional. And we've seen this before. Prescription opioids, as we all know too well, are called heroin pills over and over and over.
Professionals have been influenced for 20 years now that all pain should be treated aggressively and there's no limit to what should be done, and that basically all roads lead to opiate medications, which are essentially heroin in a pill.
Vicodin was framed as legal heroin. Patients or addicts in denial, right? No different than heroin addicts. And the idea of addiction was used to erase any legitimacy of prescription opioids. And this same tactic is being used again, calling Kratom heroin, calling it an opioid when the facts don't support either of those things. isn't about informing the public. This is about purposely stigmatizing something. And this hypocrisy drives me crazy because at the same time, public health leaders keep telling us we must reduce stigma around illicit drug use. You can't say addict. You say person who has an addiction. You can't say abuse, say use. At the same time as public health experts running those campaigns, they are deliberately piling stigma onto Kratom. First, they did prescription opioids. Now it's Kratom. And once you do that, you stigmatize the people who use it. So why would they be doing that? Because stigma justifies intervention. And that brings us right back to Exhibit E, because once Kratom is framed as opioid-like, as heroin-like, it fits perfectly into that same prevention network. The same funding lanes that were built for opioid abatement can now be used to justify the prevention of Kratom use enters Kratom danger awareness. This is not based on evidence. This is based on a narrative alignment. And once the media frame is set, the echo just deepens. And this would not even be the first time this has happened. We've already seen settlement funds from mass tort cases help seed the next mass tort case. Just look at Farmed Out. That's with Adrienne Few Berman. She started her organization with funding from the attorneys general, from a settlement from the lawsuit suing Pfizer. I think it was about gabapentin at the time. And she has just been a mass tort machine expert. That's what she does. Her organization was born directly out of this entire machine. So this idea that the settlement funds from one mass tort are then being used for the next is not just theory. It's happened. And, not surprisingly, Adrienne Few Berman is also a founding member of PROP, Physicians for Responsible Opioid Prescribing, along Andrew, right? These names don't just show up once. They show up again and again and again across organizations and lawsuits and policy battles. So I want you to listen to this next recent clip. This is from the same podcast, the Knockout Opioid, or whatever it is, webinar, the same Knockout Opioid Abuse Day with Andrew Collard.
Because this is something that we need to be concerned with, and something that's out there all the time. Convenience stores, it's not scheduled, is this Kratom. And so this is a DEA drug fact sheet about Kratom, and it has two major psychoactive ingredients. At low doses, it produces stimulant effects, and at high doses, it produces sedative effects. Can lead to addiction. So 7-hydroxymitragine and 7-OH is one of the components in Kratom. It's one of the psychoactive substances. It demonstrates greater mu-opioid receptor potency than Kratom's primary alkaloid, the mitragine. So the 7-OH, it's a little more receptive to the receptors there, as well as other classical opioids such as morphine. So what are they saying on here? Again, risk of serious adverse events, including liver toxicity, seizures, and substance use disorder. Rare cases, deaths have been associated with Kratom use. Kratom-related substance use disorder, people met the criteria for that, all the criteria for addiction. And again, this is widely available everywhere.
You just heard it. When law enforcement adopts the same framing, it adds a certain level of authority. Media gives the message reach, but police, they give it legitimacy. And notice what's missing again. There's no discussion of context, no discussion between Kratom and opioids, no acknowledgement of why people are using it in the first place. The framing is simple to them. This is the next threat. And once that framing enters law enforcement culture, it spreads. Once Kratom is publicly labeled an opioid, everything that follows that is already pre-justified. Upcoming restrictions or bans or criminalization, and of course, litigation. The claim moves from advocacy to media to law enforcement and eventually to public common sense. And it reaches that point that even questioning it becomes suspect. So very soon, if they're going to keep doing this, everyone is going to say, oh, I've heard of Kratom. That's awful. We need to ban it. And if you question that, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, haven't you heard that there's a crisis? People who push back are not seen as informed or cautious. They're seen as dangerous or worse, compromised, industry funded. And the most important voices, the people actually who use Kratom, often to survive the fallout of opioid policy, are erased completely. I mean, this isn't by accident. They've done this before. They know very well that this is how you turn a substance into a threat before it ever sees the courtroom. Earlier in this video, I played for you how Andrew Kolodny says that people are coming in addicted to Kratom and that the solution is, of course, Suboxone, buprenorphine. What matters now is what happens after that claim is made. Because once Kratom is framed as an opioid, once it's framed as an addiction rather than someone self-treating pain or anxiety, a very specific pathway opens, and that pathway is treatment. And this is where Exhibit E matters again, because Exhibit E doesn't just fund prevention and education. It also explicitly says this settlement funds can be used for treatment. Treatment, including medication for opioid use disorder, enter Suboxone. So when Kratom is redefined as an opioid problem, settlement dollars can now be used for the solution that they already chose. I mean, so shocking, right? Suboxone for everything. And you don't have to take my word for it, because I'm going to play a clip for you to show you exactly what they're saying about it. So this is that High Truths podcast again.
So why do people use it? Addiction is one answer. The path to addiction starts with feeling good by a drug and then not being able to stop. It's a great business model. People use Kratom to self-treat pain, anxiety, depression, opioid withdrawal, and opioid cravings. You may wonder, isn't Kratom better than heroin or fentanyl? I hate to choose one illegal drug over another or one bad drug over another. Both of them can kill you, but it is true that the dose of fentanyl, the potency, is much more than for Kratom. However, there's no need to choose between fentanyl or Kratom to treat opiate use disorder. We have FDA-approved medications with known dosing and no risk of heavy metal or salmonella poisoning. Namely, the treatment would use buprenorphine.
Addiction is the only reason people continue to use any product, according to them. Well, of course, if it's a product they want to sue. And when the story starts with addiction, the ending is predetermined.
So how is Romulus now? How's he doing?
Romulus is the name of the patient that this Kratom lawyer was representing.
How's he doing?
He's doing better. He's working through it. He's at the place now where he's comfortable bringing this lawsuit. So he's worked through his addiction, but there are good days and there are bad days, like there always are.
I was wondering if he needed like Suboxone to treat that addiction.
I don't know the specific off the top of my head, the specific drug, but he did go to treatment. He went to treatment. He went to a rehab center and they treated him with the same thing they used to treat other opioid.
Okay, so maybe he got that same treatment. That's what I would think was used to, since one opioid and another one. Yeah. A safer choice, a much safer choice.
This is the script that we keep hearing, right? Of course. Now it's Kratom is the problem. Addiction becomes a diagnosis and buprenorphine becomes the answer over and over and over again. It drives me crazy. I mean, this isn't new. We've seen this before. Opioids were framed as a danger, prescribing was eliminated or greatly reduced, and people were pushed into treatment with Suboxone, whether they needed it or wanted it. And now the same logic is being applied once again. Different substance, same narrative, same solution. And here's the part that really matters. The people being targeted here are the same people who were already harmed by opioid policy. People who turn to Kratom not to get high, but to function, to manage pain after losing access to their medication. But reframing that as addiction, that doesn't help these patients, because they're already doing okay. It redirects them into a system that already has funding, already has political protection. I mean, everything is about protecting and pushing Suboxone, and already has this product to sell. This is not harm reduction. This is not about safety. They might call it that, but this is about funneling people into one drug, one treatment model, and one company every single time. So by now in this video, I've shown you how the machine works, how narratives are built, how experts are elevated, how funding, media, and litigation move together. Before you hear this next clip, it's important to understand who you're hearing from. So Barry Meyer is...
I'm going to stop for a moment because, there's a long stretch we watched, and I just want to see if anybody has any thoughts, like just have a little stopping point for, because I think I still have another 9 minutes, because she has this stretch where she says so much, and it's like when I watched it the first time, I'm just like, wow, wow, wow. Because
Yeah.
she puts it all together. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, any thoughts? Because she has a lot to say.
I'm just in awe the way she put it all together. And it's not a conspiracy. It's things that, like you said, she has receipts for, and they are happening. And I appreciate her doing this too.
And that's, well, I would like to see the FDA put out the ascending dose study so that the masses can see it, because we know that that was 12 grams in 5 minutes, 24 capsules that they took, and there was only 2 mildly adverse situations, and that was nausea. There wasn't, nothing happened. And 12 grams at one time would be a lot for most people, unless they're experienced. That would be, I've never taken 12 at one time. I mean, I think I've taken probably 6 at one time of tea, and that would be my quick little, morning dose, but usually it's 4 or 5. So 12 would be, I mean, they used a large amount, and there was nothing happened. There was nothing
Right.
adverse.
It should be on the
I'd
FDA's
like to see
website.
that. That's right.
It should be on the
because
Kratom
everybody-
page.
Right. And they keep referring to the DEA and the FDA and all this, but they're not saying that's recent. That's fairly recent. That was only when did we learn? 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Th-
it's been,
about that?
yeah,
We've
it was
known-
at the
it's been a
Kratom
while.
Symposium 2 years
Right.
ago.
And if we could just get that circulated more and more, but even though I've referred people to that and told people that, usually I don't get too involved in the groups and the tea talk in other groups. But when I do, I do try to share that, because everybody is thinking all this, everything's so bad. It's so bad. And it clearly is not bad like that
Yeah.
for a tea. So I just wanted to say that because, maybe people will go look it up now or something. I don't know. But, 24 capsules, that's a lot of capsules to consume in 5 minutes.
It would make
It
me
is a lot.
Yeah.
So 12 grams, half a gram a capsule. So, but
Yeah. 12 grams is a lot, but then you add those capsules on top of it, and
yeah.
I can see
Right.
nausea.
I can't
And it
imagine
was-
that many
and-
capsule shells.
But the point is it was just nausea.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
we know that if somebody's taken two or 3, or 1 tablespoon, 2.5 or something like that, teaspoon, not tablespoon, teaspoon, 2.5 at a time, so safe for them. It would just be safe. So,
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts so far on what we've been watching? It's fascinating, right?
mm-hmm. She
Yes,
puts
it
it
really is.
together really good. It's very
She
good.
should be an investigative reporter because she's so good
Mhm.
at it. I'm gonna play some more because I mean she just keeps going, putting
Okay.
all these pieces together. I just find it so fascinating.
He's not some random commentator. He's the author of that book, Painkiller. That book later became a Netflix series. For decades, Barry Meyer has been one of the more influential journalists shaping how opioid story has been seen in the public. I mean, that in and of itself doesn't make him a villain, but it does place him in a very specific role. In this mass tort ecosystem, I guess, I can't think of a better word, journalists like Barry Meyer don't just report on a crisis. They actually create them and then define them. Their framing becomes the foundation for how lawmakers, regulators, and courts understand harm. And those narratives often, coincidentally, align very closely with the needs of upcoming litigation. So when you hear this next clip, I want you to listen carefully, not just to the words, but to the power behind his words.
So companies, when they get like in trouble, hire people called crisis management experts. So like it's up to me as a journalist to create a crisis. And then it's up to the company to hire these PR people who like are supposed to manage the crisis and manage people like me.
That statement should stop you cold. I mean, it did me because it tells you something really, really important. These crises don't happen organically. Sometimes they're just declared, created. And once a crisis is declared, everything that contradicts it becomes inconvenient, as we saw with opioids.
I used to get a lot of hate mail. And a lot of it was from people saying, like, I hope you or your family someone in your family experience the type of pain I'm experiencing and you suffer. It's like very lovely stuff that would come in over the transom. Or, do you realize that you are causing people to commit suicide and that there are patients out there committing suicide because they're not getting their pain medication? I'm going like, I don't think so.
Pain patients have reached out to everyone they could think of, right? To the journalists, to the doctors, to the so-called public health experts, telling them they were being force tapered. They were losing access to care. They were contemplating suicide. They were dying. And instead of these people like Barry Meyer listening to these patients, they dismissed the patients. They wrote them off.
But now I start see the resurfacing of these same arguments. Like, people are committing suicide because they're not getting the medications that they need. And it's sort of like, it's like I've seen it before. It's like none of it is true. It's like the same sort of, caravan type nonsense that takes on a life of its own on the internet. And through through the mouths of certain people who have created, personas or, profit centers for themselves. And until all that nonsense, all that noise ends, nothing positive is going to happen.
So this is how erasure works. The harm is denied. Then the people describing it are discredited. Then the system moves on. I mean, that's what he did, right? They don't ever acknowledge the harm that they caused. That's why Kratom matters here so much, because now that millions of pain patients have already been harmed by opioids and continue to be harmed every day, the same machine that harmed pain patients is going to harm people again, the same people, because now it's looking right at Kratom, another population that is going to be harmed, not because they were being reckless, not because they were doing anything wrong, but because they decided that this would be profitable to look at for litigation. Probably an added benefit is that they could push these patients towards Suboxone, right? When I put all these things together, the question in my mind wasn't anymore whether Kratom litigation is coming. I've already shown how these cases are built. We've shown how the narratives are seeded, how the experts are positioned, how money flows once a crisis label sticks. Will the people who rely on Kratom be erased also, like pain patients were? Will their suffering be dismissed as simply an anecdote that's not evidence? Will their warnings be labeled propaganda, as you heard Barry Meyer talk about? Will they be told, just like pain patients have already been told, that their harm they're describing is not real? Like he said, I don't think so. That's not happening. They're not true. Or will they simply be routed from one crisis to the next as, I don't know, like raw material for an industry that already knows how to profit, like Suboxone clinics, expert witnesses, settlement-funded education, the same endpoint every single time. And this is where that phrase unintended consequences collapses. People didn't just warn them once. They warned them for years. I'm going to play a clip by Elizabeth Joniak Grant. This was at an FDA hearing in this year, in 2025.
Terms, because we know that even with the best intentions, even when things are written to only impact certain groups in certain ways, there tends to be a great deal of fallout, often on the backs of chronic pain patients when it comes to opioids. That's where we are, chronic pain patients. And I think it's really important to bring it back to them because this is who we're talking about here. But tons have been forced to taper, and, the panel knows this, or stop opioid pain meds. People can't get back on them. People can't find doctors to prescribe them. People can't get pharmacies to fill them. Professional associations have come out with limits. State legislatures have come out with their limits. Hospital administration has come out with their limits. patients have been forced to get invasive procedures they don't want to get as sort of a stepwise practice, so to speak, in order to perhaps have access to opioids. We see this, again and again, and this has been discussed for a long time in the chronic pain community. And the people that are the chronic pain community that needs opioids, their goals aren't to climb a mountain. Their goals are to get out of bed, to take care of their kids, to work, even potentially part-time, and cook. They're just trying to do basic activities of daily living. And it's clear that chronic pain patients are suffering. So I think we have to be very mindful that even the best laid plans, when it comes to labels, when it comes to guidelines, when it comes to anything, it gets out in the wild and people run with it. And there generally are tons of everyone likes to say unintended consequences, but when people keep raising alarm bells saying these are likely consequences, we can no longer keep hiding behind, well, they were unintended. We didn't mean for that to happen. So I think we have to really keep that in the forefront of our mind and can really consider what are the benefits of opioids. And there generally are tons of everyone likes to say unintended consequences, but when people keep raising alarm bells saying these are likely consequences, we can no longer keep hiding behind, well, they were unintended. We didn't mean for that to happen.
When Elizabeth Joniak Grant said this, we were applauding. So many of us were cheering because finally somebody had the guts who was inside the system on an FDA committee to say the things we've been saying all along, that you don't get to keep pretending this is unintended. You don't get to keep hiding behind that label of unintended consequences because you were warned, you proceeded anyway, you've been told of the harm for like a decade and you're still doing it. So no, none of this was unintended. Right? You don't get to hide behind public health. You don't get to do that anymore. And now with Kratom litigation coming up, you are having people say, again, this is going to kill people. This is going to harm people if you move forward with these bans. And you call it public health? This isn't public health. This is sacrificing. This is a trade-off. And in this time, with Kratom, you don't get to say you didn't see it coming because we're telling you it's coming. So you don't get to hide behind that anymore. I often end these videos by saying at the doctor-patient forum, we see you. We know you're suffering because so many times when I talk to patients, one thing that is common is they say, just listening to me has helped. They say that, no one's acknowledged that this is happening. Just hearing you say that this is happening validates what I've been feeling all along. So I want you to know that we do see you and we know you're suffering and we know how often your story has been ignored or minimized or erased. And again, can we change policy? I mean, I hope so. That's our ultimate goal, and we'll never stop trying. But can we document what's happening to you? That I know we can do, and we already are. We have documented the harm. We have documented the warnings. We have documented the people who spoke up and the people who were silenced and the people who silenced them. And one day, when someone finally says, what happened? Who was harmed? Who harmed them? Who knew? And when they start saying, did anyone try to stop it? There will be a record. Your story will be there. And so will ours. You keep fighting. We are fighting with you. Thank you for watching.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
That was
Just,
so good.
it was amazing.
And there's a lot more. I just played I wanted to play enough where it'd be like, y'all would go, wow.
Yeah, that's something that all the representatives need to listen to.
Yeah.
It's long and they probably won't, but I'm going to add it in my emails because they need to hear it.
Especially that FDA person. Oh my God. That was amazing what she was saying in that presentation. Like she gets us.
Yeah.
That was
Finally.
really great.
We need more people to speak out like that because
Right.
some of them think that that people in pain are manipulating their doctors with the threat of suicide in order to get their opioids, so then they can call us
That's
addicts. It's just the addict trying to will tell a doctor anything in order to manipulate to get the prescription. And so that's just another narrative out there that's why they don't care. They still don't care about it. They don't care. People in
that's so
pain are
unfair.
always dismissed and
Yeah.
not, but one day it's going to be themselves severely, or it's going to be their children or their parents.
hmm
And hopefully that will make an impact, but it's not going to be until they feel it themselves and they have no options that maybe their mindset will change some, because they're going to want to be grateful that Kratom is out there, and that could at least be something to in the meantime, or to carry them over, or permanently to maintain their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in pain management, I had an appointment one time and it was early and I was there till midnight because there were so many people in there. And I filled out all my paperwork and I went back there and I was in so much pain because I had already run out a week earlier, And so I had to fill out the paperwork and it says, are you thinking about unaliving yourself? And I always wrote this, only when my pain is severe and I can't get help. They saw that. They ran after me when I was on my way out. They grabbed my prescriptions back and wouldn't give me them. So I'm telling them that because my pain causes that, and they come and take the reason that I wouldn't do that away from me, taking my pain management. It just blew my mind. But back then we were always in the pain management offices for that long too.
So unacceptable. Like I cannot imagine experiencing that, or the thought, their thoughts running through their heads, like this is the right course of action. That's just so horrible to me. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Thank you. But I just want to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. That's my goal. Nobody else suffers like that.
And you can't be safe, and to be honest, with any of them. You don't even know, who can you trust? So
Right.
Exactly, because if I wouldn't have put that down there, they wouldn't have run after me and grabbed my prescription back, and I would be fine. But I wanted to be how I wanted them to know how I was feeling.
You did the right thing, right?
Thank you.
And it worked against you. That's the part that's not right. I mean, to be in so much pain that you can't deal with it. And I mean, I've been there too. We've been there.
Yep.
I've been there too many times, but I'll do everything I can for myself now to make sure I don't get back on that edge.
Yep. And now I feel like never again. Now that I found my plain leaf tea, I feel like that will never happen to me again. And because of it, I can fight to make sure that happens too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody wants to, see that, well, we just watched the whole thing in its entirety, just go to Doctor Patient Forum on YouTube. I'll link it later in our YouTube here. But you can always just go to Doctor Patient Forum. They do phenomenal work, and it's just
it's a great
grassroots
group to join.
Yeah, great grassroots chronic pain advocacy advocacy group, not lobbyists. Community supported. It's amazing. I wish I had known about them when I lost access to pain management in 2019, because that's what I was looking for. Something like that.
Same.
Or they can, because when I first got dropped from pain management, I didn't know what to do. They didn't even offer to put me in a taper. I mean, it was bad. It was sad because these government policies, how the doctors are responding, because they don't want to go to jail. I get it. And because I'm a fast processor, I was requiring really high doses of opiates, and doctors get in trouble for that, even though we're all different people. I have the pharmacokinetic tests that show that I'm a fast processor. So that helps him, right?
Everybody should get that done. I
They really
think all
should.
pain patients should.
every pain doctor should require that. I was lucky that mine, like, I remember they even said, "Oh, don't worry about insurance. We'll take care of it." It was something they were smart enough to do to help with their auditing. It was brilliant, and they actually did it twice. They did it like a year apart. I have both reports. The thing is, they don't change. Is through your DNA. It just lets you know how certain medications process. It's not just opiates. It's all kinds of meds. And and this was a long time ago when I had this done. 2013 was the first time. The other one was 2014, and I found them. Like last year, I was so excited. I found them, so fed it into ChatGPT to kind of have it explain it in English so I understand. Because I remember the doctor, I don't back then. I don't remember. I just remember him just saying, "Yes, you definitely process faster. That's me justify prescribing you higher doses. This shows exactly that." And I remember him saying that it does show other medications, so you could always take this to other doctors. I thought that was interesting. But we're all different. And they all make these rules like, well, one size fits all. I remember when the FDA changed those rules. Was it FDA or at DEA? I get it mixed up. But with opiates, it was 90 MME. When they 90 MME, I was way higher. That's if anybody's not familiar with that terminology, just go Google it. It's the morphine milligram equivalent. It's a way they calculate your daily amount of opiates that you're consuming, and the stronger medication is a higher multiplier. There was times where I was close to 200 MME a day. Like, it was pretty high. And when they came up with that 90, I was so nervous, and hearing so many stories from people around the country online talking about losing access or being tapered down to the 99 or 90. And I kept asking my doctor about this because I was so worried that something would happen. He just kept saying, "Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. We're good." Until they weren't, it's like, till I got the letter in the mail, which was several years later. But were y'all familiar with that whole 90 MME that they instituted? That, like,
Yep.
That's gonna work for some people, but not everybody.
Yeah, and it just it's just so crazy that they thought that level, like this is it for everybody.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, just so many people were hurt by that.
Exactly. But yeah, that was a fascinating report that Bev put together. So I'm glad we got a chance to watch that. And we've already been here for 2 hours. We're already here over 2 hours.
Wow,
I think we'll wrap up.
by.
Yeah, it did. I think we'll wrap up with that because we've been doing longer sessions more recently, and I think we've covered enough in 2 hours. What I'll say for next week, I don't know if y'all saw, but Dr. Christopher McCurdy was on a really interesting podcast recently. It's a podcast called Oh So Gross. And I remember the first time it showed up in my feed a few weeks back. It's just these two gals that do a podcast about, I guess, things that they think is gross. I don't know. I thought it was a funny name. They just talk about different things. And they talked about Kratom. And what was so interesting, they got so many views and comments. So they had Dr. McCurdy come on. So that was a new episode with him. And it's really interesting, but he has a whole, so I was hoping there'd be time, but there's not today. But he has a really interesting segment on 708. So I'll save it for next week. Plus, I'll play that, and I'll play the video clip I have from when Dr. McCurdy came on the Kratom Gals. Venus, you remember, it was March of 2025.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We had Dr. McCurdy live. We did a special live stream because with his schedule, it didn't work for his schedule on a Saturday afternoon. So we did it live. And we did it I think on a Friday morning or something. So I have the recording. I have it. It was on my previous YouTube until that YouTube got taken down because, YouTube likes to censor. But I found the clip the very first time any of us in this circle, well, at least Venus and I, when we were doing the Kratom Gals last year, it was the first time we ever heard the mention of pool shock. It came from McCurdy. I'm sure people have heard it from all different ways. We first heard it March of 2025, and he mentioned it when we interviewed him. It's really interesting. I'll play a short clip of it. I'll save it all for next week, and I'll play that, how he explained it to us, and then I'll play some different clips from this interview he did on Oh So Gross, and there'll be other clips too. This will actually give me more time to pull other clips, because all I had time today was just to pull like a clip where he talked about 708. So I'll just save it all. We always have interesting things to watch and talk about here.
Yeah, and I always learn something new.
We all do. And we're just here to educate. We're here just like with the BAE group. When I always say it, I say it the other way around. We're here to educate and advocate, or at least that's me. That my mission is to help educate and advocate for Kratom. That's what I've been doing since I started consuming Kratom 6 years ago. Been doing it more publicly and loudly the last 3 years. Because of life changes, I had to wait on that before I could spend more time out and about doing this. But that's my mission and my motivation, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to. I spend way too much time on this, but I love doing it, and it's that important to me. Just like I know it is with all of you.
Yeah, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate everything
We
you do.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to do it.
Help give us a voice.
Well, that's
Yeah.
so. In my 30 years of building online communities, my first one was in 1990. Last month was the 30-year anniversary of all this. Me in the digital marketing space for business, and me starting my very first online community. And that's always been how I've done them. I've built multiple large online communities, and for me, it's like, I know how to do this, but I want to pass the mic around. I want everybody to have a voice. I want people to feel empowered to speak. It doesn't need to be just about me. And when I had the idea for this Kratom Gals live stream, I didn't know if anybody'd want to do it. I just had the idea it'd be fun to come together as a group, play some videos related to Kratom, good, bad, and ugly, and then talk about it. And I thought, well, I could do it by myself. I said, but it'd be more fun if I had some other people come do it with me. And look at us now. I mean, this has been so much fun.
It has been. I'm so glad I couldn't say no back then, because I was terrified. But once you asked me, I couldn't say no. And I'm so glad.
Yeah, you've come a long way, Venus, from when I first met you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeling like I'm going to throw up before every show now. So that's a big, huge thing.
Yeah. But you're such a great advocate, and you do so much in the community, and you're always helping everybody. And it's just, you have so much passion, and, you're definitely like a super duper, as I said recently, you're a super duper. You're like
we need to clone her.
We do. We need more Venuses.
Well, thank you so much. But I always say it takes all of us, and where one person can't do something, there is somebody else in the background doing that thing. Even though you may not see them up front, we all have a place together to do this, and we need everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Well, it's always fun doing this. Any other parting words? Angel, I'm so glad that you joined. I know Robin couldn't make it. She had
a death in the family.
Yeah, she had to go do that. Which,
I appreciate you having me on, and always the last few weeks having us on.
Well, as I said earlier, I love giving a seat to the table for any of you gals from BAE. I think the work y'all are doing is fantastic and so needed, and it's just bringing over here another fellow everyday Kratom consumer. That's what this is about. This is not a place to like for the lobbyists and the insider. This is just casual everyday people, just like all the ones that are in the chat right now chatting away with us. We're just regular people who happen to consume Kratom. We're all very passionate about educating. We're passionate about advocating. And it's a place to come together where we can just have conversations. We're not going to sit here and fight and debate. That's not here.
No, that's what, and Robin's come on and said it, and I say the same thing. We are all working for the same goal. We want to keep this plant legal. Well, a lot of plants, but specifically on this one, Kratom, it's the same goal.
Yeah.
We need to be united.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll see better things happening with all these various ban bills and hearings. It's just, it's always something. We just need we need more of the good news.
You need more good news. We need more advocates to go and show up and email and phone calls and everything to stand up for this plant. And, the more people that see this, that's what's so good about your stuff, getting the word out there. There's new people like you lost your channel, but there's still new people discovering it all the time. And we need everybody.
Absolutely. Agree. Becca, it's so great having you here. I'm so glad you're with us today. You always add a lot to the conversation.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
I've missed you guys. Thank you. I'm feeling
We've
a little
missed
rusty
you.
today, so more of my comments were in the comment section.
And that's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to be on.
How was y'all's blizzard there in the Northeast? I mean, you're like way up there.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough week. We got hit with a blizzard, like literally 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Wow.
And by some miracle, we kept our power. But
I'm so glad y'all did, because that's not good when you lose the power.
Yeah, we got a lot of snow in Delaware, so I can only imagine how much farther up got it.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all had Venus was sending some photos and it's like, wow, y'all got a lot of snow. Meanwhile, I'm in, shorts, so sorry. Believe me, I'd rather have y'all's weather in the summer, so it's, it's all good. Well, I think anybody else, Twinkle, any final thoughts?
No, everything was good. Great show.
It always
We're
is.
75 degrees today, so I'm happy about that. Our weather is
Nice.
Wow,
75,
that's
nice
great.
weather.
Oh, that sounds good. Let me see what mine is. Mine's 81, so nice and warm.
Wow.
41. That's warm for us right now, though. So
Ooh.
it'll be 28 later. So
Oh, yikes.
35 to 40 today, so it's
wow.
it's hot for Maine.
Yeah, it's a little warmer here today too. I think I saw it was up in the 40s or 50s, but I'm not positive. It feels a little bit warmer. So, but then it's just supposed to get cold again. So,
Well, I hope y'all don't have any more of the crazy snow. I think y'all have had enough for one winter.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back next week to do this again, like we always do. And then tomorrow in our Kratom Real Talk School community, our weekly gathering. It's like a Zoom chat, but it's in our school, not here. So if you join our community, you can come hang out.
yep, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in school tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's not like school. It's just it's cool school. I just made that.
Yeah.
Cool school.
I just popped in my head. Remember, my background's marketing. All right. Well, this has been so great. I think since we're just all fired up today, we'll wrap up with the song "You Can't Ban My Roots" because that's just such a great Kratom anthem song. And really appreciate y'all's time today. And we'll see. And thank y'all, everybody that's here live in the comments, especially over on YouTube. I know we got a lot of people on X watching as well. So thank you all. We got way more people over there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
But y'all can always come over to YouTube as well. And we appreciate all the comments in the chat. We see you and we appreciate you. And we'll see y'all soon. Y'all, and get ready to watch Becca jam with the music like she always does. All right. See y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
You can't ban roots, nah, 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 nah. You can't ban my truth, nah, 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 nah. Hey, Florida, we see the game. HB 1489, not today. Natural leaf, ancient tree, now they wanna make it a felony. Nah, we ain't playing that corporate tune. Kratom's the voice of 1,000 moons. From the fields to the streets to the healing hands, you can't kill what the earth commands. They assess certification, regulation, tricks. Just another play to make the people sick. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't bend my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No one for 89. Mail orders ban, remote sales cut. Who's that help? Big pharma's gut. They don't want plants, they want pills. They don't want cures, they want bills. But guess what? We ain't that dumb. We'll shout this message till the war is won. Kratom's our anthem, Kratom's our right. HB 4489, we fight tonight. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't bend my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No one's on 89. You can't outlaw the trees. You can't outlaw the breeze. You can't outlaw the dreams. We are Kratom. We are free. You can't bend my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise.